In this video lesson, I'm going to tell you the difference between the Yang style 103 movement Tai Chi long form and the 108 movement Tai Chi long form, and why neither one of them is just a 24 movement done 4 times, plus change. So if you've ever wondered how all those Tai Chi routines got their names and numbers, stick around. Hey everybody, it's David-Dorian Ross. Welcome to day number 41 of 100 Days of Tai Chi. It's a video series in which we are learning the traditional Yang family 103 movement long form. And today we're learning a brand new movement, movement number 47, called Strike the Tiger with the Right Fist. It's a mirror image of the movement we learned yesterday, Strike Tiger with left fist. And to get from one to the next, we need to do a 180-degree turnaround. And after the lesson, we've got a pretty cool question of the day from the viewers about how Tai Chi movements get their names. Now, before we get started, let me just say, if you are a beginner and you want to start learning Tai Chi at home, or maybe if you are a little bit more advanced and you want to just pick up some tips and insights to complement the lessons you're getting from a local teacher, then don't wait. Start right now by hitting the subscribe button and the little notification bell right next to it so that you'll never miss another episode. Now, let's dive into today's lesson because all of that's coming up right after this. Now, today's movement is called Striking the Tiger with the Right Fist. And I realized that in yesterday's lesson, when I did Strike the Tiger with the left fist, I did the whole instructional sequence facing you. I don't know, maybe I just thought it would be rude to turn my back. But in point of fact, in the choreography of this form, after the right kick, you're actually facing this way. And that would be relative to this being the open the door position. So then Strike the Tiger with the left foot steps right directly opposite of you. So I would be here, as you will, for Striking the Tiger. So since today's movement involves a 180 turnaround, I've actually wanted to show you the whole sequence from the kick through the first tiger through the second tiger, all in a row so you can see the whole orientation. Let's take a look at that one time. Okay, now let's take a look at the footwork from one tiger to the next. And it's actually a really simple footwork because it's just a 180 turnaround. So I start in a bow step facing directly opposite of what our open the door orientation would be. I empty out the front foot, sit back. Then turning my body to the right, I let those left toes crank all the way around. That's really important. I'm going to take this foot out of the way for just a second so you can see how far I'm cranking these left toes all the way in. Then back to the left foot you go, and the right foot steps forward. When it steps forward, it creates both width and length, preparing for your Tai Chi lunge, and then shift forward into your bow step. Here's the breakdown of the hands. Now, at the end of the first tiger, we have the left hand high, the striking fist, and the right hand low. And the two hands are lined up over each other with sort of the hole in the middle of the fist, close, but not exactly. It doesn't have to be precisely fist over fist, but fairly close. Now, this actually is reminiscent of staff or spear or even flag techniques where you'd be holding on to a single piece of wood with both hands here. And so the two holes face in towards one another. On the bottom hand, the palm is facing in towards the body. On the top hand, the palm is facing outward. Right? Moreover, notice that the two arms are curved. They're basically ward-off hands, basically embracing the moon hands here, right? But I've just turned a fist on the bottom, fist on the top, and a little bit higher. Very similar to turn and chop with fist, right? That kind of position there. When I begin the transition, the first thing it's going to do with these hands is nothing, right? I empty out that front foot and turn, and they're just sort of floating in the air, just not really moving at all. When I shift back onto this left foot, they both release the fists and reach out slightly as though grabbing, preparing to pull down. Once I land on the heel for that lunge, both hands sweep downward, and as they pass the hip here, they both create two fists. The right hand continue to arc overhead until you see the striking fist, the right fist overhead. The left hand on the bottom. The right hand has a little bit farther to go than the left hand, right? So it's one continuous sweep from the top to the bottom. All right, let's watch that one more time. From the end of the first tiger, see here it comes turning around, they haven't changed at all. When I step onto this left foot, the two hands open. Stepping forward and landing on the foot, they sweep down and around, creating the striking the tiger position. All right, let's take a look at that one more time all together. Now, if you watch this video and you still have some questions, if you're like, I think I missed a piece there, I wish you had explained a little bit more about that, don't wait, don't sort of hold back. Please write it in the comment section below there, because I'd love to follow up. We'll do some additional instruction in further videos. All right, we'll take a look at that, then we'll come back and look at the question of the day. So today's viewer question of the day was suggested by a couple of our different viewers who wanted to know what the difference was between the 103 movement long form and the 108 movement long form was. Now, we've been saying that this series is about the 103 movement Yang style traditional family long form. And currently, the current grandmaster of the Yang family, Yang Jun, and his predecessor, Yang Zhendo, said that the official long form had 103 movements. But when I was first learning Tai Chi 40 years ago, we actually had a long form that all of the traditional Yang style teachers taught called the 108 movement long form. So what's the difference? How did we lose a few movements? Well, the fact is that it's the same routine. All the movements pretty much the same. If you came from Mars and you looked down and you said you saw two people doing their two routines, 103 here and 108 here, it'd be the same routine. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The difference is only in how you name and count some of the movements. I'll give you an example. In the beginning of the second section of this form, we have a movement called carry the tiger to the mountain. If you remember, it starts off kind of like brush knee into the corner and then proceeds with roll back, press, and push, motions that we learned from grasping the bird's tail. Well, in the 103 movement, we just count that as one. That's called carry tiger to the mountain. But in the 108 movement, they break it into two parts, and they call it carry tiger to the mountain and grasp the bird's tail. Although I always thought it was like just 3/4 of grasp the bird's tail. I mean, what happened to ward off, right? But it's just the way that we count them. In the 103 movement form, we count 3 separate wave hands like cloud steps. But in the 108 movement, we do 3 steps, but we just count it as 1 wave hands like cloud. So that's just the only difference. Most of the Tai Chi forms get their names or designated simply by the number of movements in the form. So we have the 103, we have the 24, really blow your mind. There is another movement, another routine called the 88 movement long form, which is pretty much just the 103 movement long form with a few pieces taken out. But other than that, it's just the same form. Now, the most popular form bar none in the world of all Tai Chi forms, is the Yang style 24 movement simplified form. Now, this routine is actually not specifically traditional Yang style. This is what's known as Beijing style, and it was designed by a committee of Tai Chi experts in 1959 who were part of what's known as the Chinese Physical Culture and Sports Committee. And this was intended to be China's first national exercise program, a simplified version of Tai Chi that could be taught in schools and could be exported to other countries where beginners could learn to do Tai Chi. And the way that they got those 24 movements was by looking at the Yang style long form and then asking the questions, which movements are really tough? Let's take those out. Which movements repeat themselves several times? Let's shorten that down and just have one set number. Which movements only appear once and are kind of odd? Let's take those out as well. So what we wind up with are 24 movements of a simplified nature. There's no slanted flying. There's only 3 brush knees, and you know how many brush knees there are so far in the long form. But the short form is not merely one section of the long form or a shortened version of what the long form could be. So that's why you can't just do 4 repetitions of the short form and equal the long form. They're 2 different kinds of routines with 2 different intentions. So there you have it. That's how Tai Chi routines get their names, and what's the difference between the 103 and the 108 movement. Anyway, that was a great question. Thank you so much for that question. If you have a question about Tai Chi, about the tradition, about the philosophy, about the movements themselves, you know what to do. I'm inviting you to continue to write those questions down there in the comment section below. It's a great place, and I'm loving your questions. It's totally awesome. Continue to do that. If you are a beginner, as I've said before, and you want to start learning Tai Chi at home, all I want you to do is hit the subscribe button. If you hit the little bell next to it, then every time I put up a new video, it'll send you a message saying there's a new episode available. So don't wait, get started today. And also, for those of you who've been coming, thank you so much for being a part of this family so far. And last but not least, I just want to say once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my Tai Chi with you. I really appreciate that, and I just thank you for your time and attention. Now have a good evening, a good morning tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next lesson.